Good morning. Today's practice by request is about downhill skiing. Now, when we think about downhill skiing, the movement is like this, right? So we're moving between the hips, the knees, and the ankles. When you actually are out at the ski hill, though, what you often see with people going down hills is this. So it's this motion, and there's a lot of collapsing between the ribs and the pelvis, as opposed to moving the pelvis or the hips, the knees, and the ankles. So when people get this action moving, then all of a sudden their skiing starts to change. So when I work with people who are skiers, because this is the neighborhood that I'm in, what becomes really interesting is that as they connect better between their hip and their foot, and they track this whole leg a lot better and get stronger and more coordinated through this leg, or both legs, they have much more stamina to be on the hill, and they're able to ski for a lot longer. So this is a part one series because we're still in October. The snow is just beginning to fall where we are. We're not ready for skiing yet. It's going to be in a number of weeks, but this is a place for you to explore and begin to notice where you're at in the season between your hips and your feet, but also what is happening up between your pelvis and your shoulders, okay? So we're gonna begin in standing and then work our way down toward the floor. And we're gonna start with a standing twist with the chair. So here we go. Bringing that foot up, and then just notice with yourself here in standing how that bottom of the foot feels, how the leg feels. And then as you start to twist, watch that you don't lead it with your head. Think about what goes on between your ribs and your pelvis. Yeah? When or if you are someone who smushes through your upper body and doesn't move through their hips, this area can often feel tight or compressed, or after you do something like this, it can actually feel really, really light and free, which might give you an indication that you may have a tendency to be a little more smushed, particularly if you're doing a lot more Zoom meetings and you're not getting up and walking around as much. And then with this arm, you can kind of bring it up wherever it feels comfortable. Okay, great. And then come on out of that. And let's play on the other side. And then take that twist. So you're generating the movement between the ribs and the pelvis. The pelvis is mostly staying still. The ribs are the segment that's moving. The abdominals or the obliques are the ones that are driving that movement. Just watch about your feet and your toes if you want to get them all clenched up. Okay, good. And then unravel. Okay, perfect. All right, so now let's come into a little bit of a chair position. And I've got the doweling so you can really get a sense of this. So if I'm here, the idea is we're going to come into a chair position like this. So hip, knees, and feet. Hip, knees, and feet. So sometimes what can happen with chair is this can happen, and the movement's not happening at the hips. So they're driving those knees forward. And I like you to think about articulating through the hip. And we're not lowering our upper body down, but because that becomes more of a spinal movement, it's more pelvis to leg. So it's that, like you're hinging here. And then when you lift, think about coming from this part of your bum. So you may even want to put your fingers, if you're comfortable doing this, right where your bum meets your leg. I call it the gluteal fold. So that you're moving up from this area. And you don't need to squeeze your bum to do this. You just need to have the awareness and then notice as you're lifting what you feel. So it's not a driving of the pelvis forward. It's just making the angle here of the hip that goes from this amount to straighten. So you're closing it down, you can think about, and then you're opening it up. folding, opening, folding, opening. Okay, so now feel the bottom of the feet. There you go. Good. Okay. So now let's come to goddess. Whoops, watch that doweling. And then rotate your leg bones out and let's just sit. And again, focusing on your hips and your feet. Good. And then just kind of get a sense. You can kind of go left and right and just get a sense of what your legs are doing. Get it really, really familiar. One of the little tricks that I was playing with after I'd fallen down my stairs back in 2010 and I'd sprained my coccyx. And that was just at the end of December, so I was getting back to skiing around February, and I would put my ski pole in the front of my hips and just kind of remember how it was to move through the hips, the knees, and the feet. All right, feel here through your ribs. Watch that you're not bracing. Okay, we're gonna lean forward through the hips, not through the spine, but through the hips. So go wherever is comfortable. And then we're gonna come back up again. Place your hands on the outside of your thighs. Press the thighs back. Now come forward through the pelvis on the legs. Good. Keep those legs moving backwards. You can place the hands forward now, but keep those legs moving backward. Yeah, feel the bottoms of your feet. Center of the heel, ball of the foot, base of the pinky toe. Okay, now let's begin to twist. But now watch, did you lose what was going on at the legs? Keep it easy. And then, so this is like how I like to consider building strength. It's within this current of ease so that I can build the strength patterns inside or on top of or within, whatever word you want to use there, of ease. So that I'm not building tension patterns with strength. I'm building easeful patterns with strength, which will help with the surge in power, right? Because I'll have more force to be able to unlock if I'm in an easeful place versus if I'm in a tension place. That inappropriate tension, I should add. Okay, leg bones are moving back. Feel the bottoms of the feet. Arms just come out like so. Start to bring your upper body back, but stay in your legs. Yeah? Okay, now feel your feet. Okay, now think about this angle again. Think about your knees. So this angle is going to go from a folded flexion and then up. Good. And bring those legs together. Good. Now what does that feel like? Come back to your standing twist and let's just notice if anything that happened there through the legs changed up how you're doing your twist now. Yeah, and then come to the other side. Lovely, good. That always becomes interesting when we start to really get into the legs and then connect that with the torso. And then when we come back to just moving through the twist, what that feels like. So let's come down to the floor and then have your ball handy. And we're gonna come onto our ball like this and just roll out our hip. Now you could go back up to standing and grab it and place it on the wall if being on your wrists does not work. You can also be flat on your back, right? So you could also be right here if you want, okay? You choose that which works for you. You can also take this ankle up. I really like moving the position of the femur head somewhere from here to here or just some different direction to give me more opportunity to get into other tissue. So more than just being here, I might bring the leg up, bone up like this or there. Okay, good. And then other side. So now that I've told you about what I often see at ski hills in terms of how people ski, when you go to the ski hill the next time, you're going to see it a lot more clearly. How many people smush through their upper body. And then they wonder why they've got back pain, right? So it's not the skiing that's the issue creating the back pain. It's how they're moving in the activity called skiing. Okay, so now from here, we're going to come into a position that looks like this. Now, the idea here is that your pelvis is more or less level. So I can feel both my sitting bones on the floor. This one's a little bit more than this one, but I'm generally level. If you're like way up in here or you're having trouble even getting into this, put a block underneath your body, okay? Or underneath your bum. Super important. And then grab your roller. My roller was finding a new home in another room. So this is my roller today, which is a medicine ball. But what's really great is it shows that you can do things that are like the roller with a totally different tool, yeah? So you're here in this position. We're gonna do a little twist, and then hands are gonna come onto the roller, and we're gonna do a nice little movement like so. Okay, now, your pelvis though is not moving, so I can still feel the same amount of pressure this is my right side, on my right sitting bone. So you can see that I'm moving a little bit here, but I'm not losing contact of this sitting bone on the floor. Okay, come back up. Now comes just straight to the side. And then watch if you want to lead with your head, like this, and let the head and the spine stay in a similar harmony. I don't want to say in a line because it's not quite a line, but we're not breaking, we're not deviating out of that plane. And then let's come back up again and then twist. Yummy. Okay, come back up. Let's change up the legs. And this way now, ready? So we're here. Take the twist. Okay, good. And then directly to the side. Now you want to make sure that whatever rolling tool you're using, whether it's a roller or whether it's a ball or whatever, that you're not like pushing your hand into it. You're not utilizing it to brace yourself. Okay, let's come back to the twist. And your pelvis is not leaving the floor. You're still staying in contact with that sitting bone that you're moving away from and the floor. Perfect. Good. And then come back up. Lovely. All right, come onto the floor now. We're going to carry on this idea of twisting. I've got my blanket here. And this is going to go under the head. I'm going to add one more layer to this for myself. Okay, and we're coming onto the side. So the idea is we want the head to be in line with that spine as much as you can. Good. And then this arm is going to come straight up to the sky. Okay. And then allow yourself to twist and back up. So lots of times people will want to lead with the shoulder to do this. And I want you to think back to that first movement we did, which was the twisting of the rib cage. And let your pelvis be quiet and allow yourself to move the rib cage. Again, the obliques, as you pass your gravity, they're going to be helping control the movement against gravity. Now I've got this wall behind me, so I'm just stopping part way, but you can go further. Just allow that glenohumeral joint, this shoulder joint here, don't have it drive. Don't have it break. Right? There's a lot of important tissue there that connects the arm bone to the chest, to the torso. So we want to keep them connected. So even though if you do this, you'll get a big stretch, it doesn't really improve a ton of functioning, especially when the intention is to do a twist. So that's the intention here. The intention is to do a twist. Good. And then let's come over to the other side. Now it's possible my mic might be a little bit fuzzy because I'm sitting on it. So we're going to take the arm to the sky and then add the twist. All right, lovely. And then come on back and take that blanket away from your head. And now just lie on your back. And then notice what you feel here. Bringing one knee to your belly, followed by the other. And let's just take a movement through the leg bones and the hip socket. Exhaling as the legs come in, inhaling as the legs go out. And then other way. Good. All right, lovely. And then feel your inhale and your exhale. So that was a practice more to have you become aware of some of the component parts that when you move them well, really contribute to a great day of skiing. I'm going to be following up next week with a part 2, which is going to be more around strength, still with an underlying pattern, component part piece, but we're going to get a little bit more into strength, challenge your legs a little bit more, challenge your breath a little bit more. So come on back next week and we'll dig more into part 2. Alrighty? In the meantime, have a really, really great rest of your day and we'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. Take good care.